Hey, Jesse.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good, you're alive. How are you?
I'm doing well. Where you at?
Ohana.
Toronto?
Yeah,
Parents' home or your home? Or
it's great.
that's good that you get to hang out with the parents during this quarantine session.
Yeah, it's great till I start arguing with my mom because she wants to go outside.
She's tired of being inside.
Yeah, but now she gets it. But because we started the quarantine like 16 days ago because
Wow.
we got back from the States when tour got canceled. So I think this is my 16th day inside. But the first day, like she just didn't think it was a big deal. She thought I was overreacting. So
Yeah.
I had to stay indoors. But aside from that, I've been good.
Your album's out. You've been working on it for a few years. How's that feeling?
Surreal,
Yeah.
surreal, relieved. I still got a little bit of anxiety left about it
Why do you still have anxiety now that it's out?
because it's the wild, wild west right
Mm.
now. To know how to move for everybody regarding anything you're gonna put out or businesses or anything, like everyone's kind of in the same boat of we don't know what's happening next and we don't know how long this is gonna last. And as a community, so it even like it still feels like there's heavier things that humanity is dealing with right now. So I'm hoping I made the right decision of dropping it regardless and like making sure that I wasn't stopping my music just because of a pandemic. But I don't want that to sound nonchalant either because it was a big deal. It is a big deal. So I don't know. I guess I'm anxious because I keep hoping that I made the right decision of not postponing.
Yeah.
But it's done. So I guess I gotta just let go of that anxiety because what's done is done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like in a time like this, I mean, I know I can only speak for me personally, but through the ups and the downs, music's always been that thing that's made, the day just a little bit better. So I feel like we need you and other artists to keep doing what they're doing and be in tune with their creativity because the world needs it.
Yeah, yo. Thanks. I hope so. I'll be right.
Putting out your album and having in the back of my mind the Saint Nobody video and that part where you like cut open your heart and you literally take out your heart and you kind of put it out there and fans are like taking pictures and doing all that really made me think about the process as an artist to release such a personal album that you're dealing with, relationship stuff. And I'm sure some stories that are personal to you. When you put out such a body of work that really is, as an artist, who's so vulnerable, so dear to you, what is that feeling like once it like is out now in the open for the world?
There's a lot. There's relief. There's anxiety. There's one of the weirdest things is knowing that girls that are up next, like girls in line to deal with this shit firsthand, either with the person that did it to me or firsthand with somebody else, and they don't know what's in store. But this is like a billboard. So it's just kind of it's just crazy when you think about it that way. Like I don't know, it's just crazy. And I know people change, but to know that there's girls, like I'm sure to know that the probability is high that the girl with whom my ex cheated on me with is bumping shit is like a hard. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thought to process.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird thought to process. So that's weird, but it's also humbling and like encouraging when I get the messages that I've gotten with other projects of like, this made me feel less lonely during this quarantine because I just broke up with dude, or this made me feel like just less alone because no one articulated those feelings and mirrored them. So that shit is I don't want it's not as much humbling as it is like to snap back to reality. That sometimes it's not just about it's not about me. Like as much as I make music selfishly, the fact that people connect with it after the fact is this beautiful, positive byproduct that I was never that I don't intentionally do when I'm making the music, but it just so happens to happen after the fact.
One of the themes in the songs in this album is sometimes being in those toxic relationships that you know you should get out of, but for some reason you stay in them, you keep coming back to them. What advice would you have to somebody who listens to the music and is maybe stuck in a toxic relationship and they're battling the get in, get out, but I don't want to be alone, but there's something here that I really want to say, but there's also all this other stuff that...
Like, you think I'm in a position to give advice, dude? That's like asking, I said this the other day, I'm like, that's like asking like a teacher that dropped out of school to like help you cheat. You know what I mean? Like, you think that it's a good idea, but is it? Is it? Because they know the ins and outs, but I don't know. I'm still definitely dealing with a lot of baggage. I'm still definitely dealing with a lot of healing. That's taken me a lot longer than I think would take the average person, because I feel like I love so head first that I end up breaking my neck. And people are better. I know that a lot of people are much better with boundaries that way. And they're much better at self-love. So if I give any advice, I would think it would be to see what not to do. So if you are going to enter in a relationship with somebody, make sure the relationship with yourself is intact first. Because that's where I fucked up. And I think that's where I fucked up. Because I ended up loving somebody way more than I loved myself. And the second you let that happen, how's something going to survive? Because now that person becomes responsible for your happiness. So you have to take responsibility too, because as many mistakes as they might have made, if you're not looking out for yourself, they're responsible for two people. That's not fair. You know what I mean? So you have to be responsible for yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta be the one that's holding your own back. You're making sure that you're not looking at somebody else to provide what you should be emanating from your insides. You know?
Another kind of theme throughout this album is kind of like the different processes of how we heal, right? Whether it's, drinking, or whether it's finding somebody else who might be getting over a relationship too, to have some of that physical stimulation or emotional stimulation that we might need in, in just healing and taking the next step. Can you talk about that process too? Just the steps afterwards?
Yeah. I've been through all of those. I stopped drinking as much this year, which is crazy. So it's the first time in my life that I've never dealt with it sober. And I've been pretty much sober since last April. Yeah, I stopped for Lent last year, and then I kind of let it carry through. I've had maybe like 3 drinks, but four drinks. I know that for some people, they might be like, okay, that's not, but like in comparison to what I was doing before, because before it would be every day, because it was at the studio, I would justify it. And then right before shows, I would justify it. When I got my period, I would justify it. When I was going through something, I would justify it. And it wasn't until last year in April when I was like, oh, fuck, it's every day. And I hadn't noticed that it got to that. I've been through trying to cover it up with somebody else. I don't think that's why I say I'm like I talk about my experiences in my song, but that's just what it is. Like they're my stories. They're not really little capsules of advice. They're almost just supposed to be little like billboards. If anybody recognizes it, then like dope. But this isn't where you should go. Don't go here. Like fuck, because it's not always it's not. I've never known anybody that rushed into something after a relationship and succeeded. No, that's a lie. I know one, but that's a fluke. I know one. And then I've also been in the position where I put myself as a priority, and it's helped. It's not consistent. It's not like, if it was consistent, I think I'd be healed by now. But it's hard because some days are easier than others, Some days you're good for like 2 weeks, and then you end up cleaning your room and you find a fucking photo, and it's like you get tossed backwards a year. It's fucked. But that's why it has to be every day. So that's why the next day after that, you got to make sure you throw that shit out. You got to make sure you're reading your affirmations. You got to make sure that you're praying, staying spiritual, making sure your soul's clean. All those things. I think that's what helps me. But I haven't gotten there yet, so I don't even know if my map is right. But that's my map.
think we all have our own maps. I don't think there's a right map.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your creative process. What's your creative process? Are you a lyrics first person, or do you come with a melody, or do you already have kind of like a concept of something that you want to get off your chest and then you go that route, or what's your creative process like?
I walk around with my emotions on the surface. So I always have, like, anytime I walk, I just walk around with that. I walk around with my feelings. So I always talk about my real life. Lyrics and melody come at the same time for me. Like when I hear a song, it's the emotion that it evokes, and then I'll just start going, which is interesting because I know, like, based off your question too, and based off my experience with other like legends that I've been lucky enough to work with, I know that some people prefer doing melody first and then they fill in the lyrics, or some people like a concept first and then. But anytime I do that, I feel restricted. It always just has to come together, you know. But the music comes first, so there has to be like a chord, or if I have to have my guitar or on the piano, or the producer has to play a beat or an instrument or something that's like the chemical reaction. That's what kind of motivates it forward, you know. And then I make a lot. I hate working with people that are like, yo, I hate this. You have no idea. I hate working with people that don't understand like the speed at which I need to work in order not to stop the faucet. Because I get so many ideas, and I'm aware that they're not all good. But because I'm aware of that, I need to make sure I go. So I'm like, okay, they play this one. This shit'll come out, finish it. Okay, cool. Let's do the next one. And then sometimes, like, I've been in rooms with people that are like, no, but like this one's good, like we need to go in on this, and it's just idea number 1 or just idea number 2. But I'm like, that means we're committing 5 hours to something that you don't even know you're gonna love at the end, as opposed to working with like Tim Subi gets it, man. Tim Subi will just let me roll, and we'll go. I'll be like, and then we'll have 5 ideas, and I'll be like, okay, and then I have to stand back objectively and be like, this is the one that hits, and then we'll work on that one, you know. But it's easier that way. And I also have commitment issues, which I'm sure is coming up in that too. So it's easier for me to commit after the fact. So I'm not like, because 5 hours into an idea you hate, you end up questioning your taste. And then you don't know if it's subconsciously your ego making you commit to something because you've put that much time in. Like I hate that. I love just being able to work free, man. It's the best.
What was the working process like you talked about legends with M, who's on this album? This is the 3rd song you guys have worked on together. You're going to work with him. Take me back to that day and what was going through your mind, and just how the creative process flowed from there.
For the song, our teams had conspired to like get us together in the studio. So we were in LA. Yo, I was in my nerves like a motherfucker. I was so bummy. I was well bummy. Like, I was nervous. And that's only happened to me twice, where I'm like, twice. And that's one of them. And I remember praying that inspiration would come quick, because you know how I said like, that's usually what happens. It'll be just every now and then I'll get stuck, and then that's when like the page will look like shit. Like the page is just scratched, and another one, and then there's pages of that. It still comes out, and it's still a lot of ideas. They just it's not as fluid. I have to work more for it. So I'm praying to God. I'm like, Lord, please let this come easy today. Like let it come easy today. I'm not trying to struggle in front of Eminem. I'm not trying to do it. And then we pull up, and then we say hi. Mauricio and Byron will tell you. They'll be like, when I hugged them, I like let out a little sigh. I was like, huh? And they were like, what the fuck? And then we were in the studio talking. And he was like, yeah, okay, I got something. So, we went back and forth on records, like just playing each other the shit that we were doing. And he was like, okay, I got something for you. And then he played me the Good Guy beat. And I was like, true. And I shut my eyes, and it started coming. And it was one of those where it was easy on the page, man. And I was happy because Paul watched it happen and M watched it happen. Like we were all in the room together. you know? And then as I'm doing that, he would like leave and then like go in the separate studio where you see the glass, and you would just see him pacing back and like that was his part, just pacing back and forth, going through it. It was nuts. It was crazy. And then that's the day I put down the vocals for Good Guy. And like fast forward for Coffin, the song was done. The song was done. We're finishing the album, and since we'd been wanting to work together again, I sent him the song. And then he sent back the vocals, and I couldn't believe it. When they said they were doing it, Paul was like, yeah, he's down. I didn't believe it till I got the vocals, and I was like, oh shit. It was cool. And then working with him in Detroit on the video shoot was like lit. It was lit. The guy, he's one of those people where I learned shit where it's not like, they're not directly taught at me, but you almost just learn from observation. Like, for example, when we were doing shots, I have a tendency of being meticulous and going back to the playback and watching it and being like, okay, like this angle or this lighting or this shot again or whatever, right? But he took it another step. He would go and he would sit with the AD or his assistant or whoever it was and be like 0.01 till this the shot, this an option, next go the other, this one that's an option next. And I was like, brilliant. Like that must save so much time when you're going into post-production, into editing and everything. And must just save so much time to be able to do that, you know? Obviously he has the liberty of doing that too, because he can like extend the budget for a longer set time. But I learned that shit was lit.
Sounds like you're both perfectionists, not just in words, but just in the vision overall.
Yeah, I'm meticulous as shit.
One of the things that I was really excited about this year was that you were going to go on tour with Billie. Unfortunately, right now, because of the lockdown and the pandemic, that's been temporarily postponed. Is there any chance that we can get like a virtual show or something for the fans who want to see that happen?
That'd be sick, eh? I don't know, man. That's not in my hands. You know, that shit's in God's hands. Mm-hmm. We'll see. I hope that shit just gets postponed and then we're good to go. I hope, but I don't know. You know what's crazy too is we got 2 shows in, so it's not even like I didn't get it. Like I got a taste, and I was like, this is sick. I loved it. And that's nerve-wracking because, like, when you go to your own show, it's different because you know you're going to family. You're going to family who's waiting for you with open arms. When you're an opener, that shit is alarming. Shit is scary because it throws you back to, like, old days where you'd have to go out and, like, fight for a crowd because 90% of these people never heard of your shit, right? And she had sold out. So it's not even, like, sometimes when people will get openers, some people don't know this, but people will get openers to like help sell tickets, right? She didn't need no damn help. That shit was sold out. So whoever she got on was a gift to them. So this was a gift to me. This was an opportunity. And when I went on the first night, I was a little nervous. It took me 10 minutes, and then I got them. And then by the end of it, everybody was about it. It was cool. And then same for the next show. So I was cheesed. I was sad, but
I don't think I've ever been to a Jessie Reyez show that people didn't leave with a smile on their face after seeing you perform. So I have no doubt that whoever you're opening up for, whether they were your fans going in or not, they're going to be your fans leaving.
That's sick. Thanks, man.
Did you two get a chance to work together at all in terms of like?
Yeah, we've been in the studio before. You know, we've been in the studio.
What's that like when you guys are together in the studio? What's it creative?
Fun. She's cool. I fuck with her, man. Fuck with her because she's chill and she's honest. And when you get those two in somebody in the industry that's consistent, that is a fucking rare thing. Consistent, honest, and truthful. What? It's nice. And like her brother's like that too. Her family's like that too. So I appreciate it, man. They've shown love. Billie in particular has shown love for years and been consistent. So it just it doesn't go unnoticed.
I feel like when you two see each other, it must be like that Spider-Man meme when like the Spider-Man it's like you're both so like raw and vulnerable and like good people and just creative.
Oh, thanks. That's funny.
It's like, wait.
It's jokes.
Before I let you go, one last question. Last year, you took a trip to the border, to the U.S.-Mexico border, to be around people who were refugees and to kind of like see that firsthand for yourself. How did that trip impact you?
Yo, it impacted me by making, I feel like when you see shit on articles and when you see shit on the news, it hits you away. But when you see shit in person, it's just different. It's different. The empathy levels shoot. Like I left heavy-hearted, but I left with more wisdom, with more awareness, with more options on how to help, with more like understanding of what it is that a lot of people go through, with more understanding of the sacrifices that the people that are helping are making in order to help, which puts it into more perspective of how little a sacrifice I or anybody else that's not on the front lines would have to make in order to assist the people that are legitimately giving their lives to the cause. You know what I mean? It helped me feel proud to be Latina because we see our own community helping, you know, seeing our own community helping internally is beautiful. The fact that people that were deported already, are the ones that are working in a lot of these organizations to help people that land or help people that are lost when they get there and have no money, no phone, no nothing. And the people who are helping them kind of get asentados son la gente que acabaron de salir. Like, that must not be easy. That must not be easy to do, you know, because those opportunities are now gone from you, but you're helping somebody else. That shit must be hard, man. So it just put a lot of things into perspective for me of like how much I could help, you know, and how much anybody could help.
Yeah, I think about that right now as a lot of us are in quarantine and on lockdown. The people who live in the shadows, the farm workers, the people who still are going to work and exposing themselves not only to chemicals, but, you know, to the virus, just to make sure that we have vegetables and fruits in our groceries that most people probably don't even think about, or the truck drivers or the nurses or all these different people. So
yeah, you're right. We have the privilege of being able to be indoors right now. We have the privilege of doing that. I got caught up in my heart yesterday watching a video of this like nurse seeing her son, and the kid runs up and she's like, no, because she has to stay like, and she broke down, and that shit me pegó because I'm like, these people are like, and it gets me aggravated to see people that aren't taking it seriously, that are like people that have the privilege of being able to stay home and being able to deaccelerate, like para desacelerar el progreso de la contaminación, but they're not doing it, knowing that there's people that are sacrificing time with their kids and time with their family, or like you said, farmers or people that are in the shadows that have not, like, that don't have the privilege. That's crazy. That's just nuts. Aggravating. Wash your fucking hands and stay indoors. Don't go to your fucking friend's house. Don't go to a party. There's people that are sacrificing a lot of shit for you to be able to stay alive and your grandparents to be able to stay alive. So, like, don't be an asshole. Be considerate. Be part of a community. This has to be a community effort to get better, you know? And if you have the privilege to stay home, do it. And if you don't, and you've been going out and doing the essential work, thank you. It doesn't go unnoticed.
That's real. Any last words?
Thank you for being truthful, honest, and consistent in this industry, because if people don't know, they could throw back to this like first interview that we did a long fucking time ago, in that part, the day that I spilled tomato soup all over Byron's car. That shit was no joke, and that shit was cool, man. And I was nervous as hell back then too, but I appreciated you making the time and bringing me out, you know?
Thank you for your time.
No problem, dude. Thank you.